Hello guys, in this video we will be developing a image merger kind of a web application which allows you to actually select one or multiple image files, and it can either merge the image files in a horizontal direction or it can merge it in a vertical direction. So you can see we have a radio button out there. Either you can select horizontal or vertical. This is the direction of merging, concatenation, joining the multiple images. So we have developed this interface using Tailwind CSS. So we allow the user to simply select the image files. Either you can select PNG, JPG, all extensions are supported. So let me take an example here. Let me select these two images. And then if I select the direction here, if I want to merge it horizontally, I will select that and click this button. And now you will see that the output will be shown right here below. These two images are successfully merged into a single image. So now you can download this by clicking the download button and you will actually open the image. You will see that both these images are now merged into a single image in a horizontal direction alongside the x-axis. So if you want to do the reversal here, if you want to join it vertically, you will select the radio button of vertical and click on merge images, and now the live preview changes. So now the images are showing in a vertical direction. Still, this is a same image. It contains in a single image, but the direction has been changed. But now if you open the image output image, you will actually see the direction. The images are appearing in a vertical direction alongside with the y-axis. So you can take as many images as example. So sometimes we want to join multiple images into a single image just to save some space. So you can take as many images as you want. So it is recommended that you take images with same dimensions to get the clear result. So as you can see, we have selected 5 images. You can select as many images. And now you can see all these 5 images has been merged into a single image. So if you try to open this, the size obviously will be larger, but you can see that all the 5 images content is merged into a single image, and same goes with the vertical as well. You can see that. So this kind of images are used in typically in making collages, gallery. So you can just see here. So we will be using the basic Canvas API, which is available for every browser in JavaScript. We will not be using a third-party library for building this. We'll be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And for building the UI, we'll be using Tailwind CSS. So let's start building this. So just create a single index.html file and just make an interface and just give it a title, image merger web app in JavaScript. And for Tailwind CSS, we do need to include the CDN. So just after the title, just copy paste the CDN link. And inside your body, you need to give some Tailwind classes to actually change the background color to BG gray. The shade is 100, padding will be 4. And then inside this, we will have a div tag, which will be responsible for aligning the content. We will be giving all these classes of Tailwind, BG white, padding will be 6, and it will be rounded. It will also have shadow as well. Inside this we will have an heading right here, which will say image merger. We'll give it a class here as well, text to Excel. Font will be bold. So if you try to open this now, you will actually see a card like structure in the middle of the screen, and we have contain a heading right here, image merger. And after this, we will allow the user to have a form. We give it an ID here so that we can target in JavaScript image merger form. Give it a class as well, margin bottom 4, and then a div tag. So here we will be give it a label right here. we will simply say here select images. So we will allow the user to simply select images from an input field. It will be a block element. Text color will be gray. Text will be small. Font bold. So after this label, we will have this input field of type file, and we will only be accepting images files. So we will simply say image slash star, and it is required, and give it an ID here of image files so that we can target in JavaScript. So if you refresh now, you will see this one, and just give it a tailwind class margin top 2 just to give some spacing. So now it is looking good. So after this, we will have a button to actually submit the form, but also we will also be having a radio button for selecting the direction of merging. So we will have two options, either horizontal or vertical. So we will simply say merge direction. So we will have two choices, either the user can merge the images in a horizontal direction, or they can select vertical direction. So all the source code will be given in the description. So I'm just copy pasting this HTML for these choices just to save some time right here. Let me paste it. So now you have two radio buttons. At one moment of time, you can only select one. So either you can select horizontal or vertical. So the main thing is that the type parameter here is radio. We have given a class of it, tailwind class form radio, and we have given this name parameter. If you see this merge direction to both these input fields, radio buttons, so we'll be targeting it in the JavaScript whenever we want to get the value what the user has selected, either horizontal or vertical. By default, horizontal will be checked when you load the application for the very first time. So I think this is all the HTML which is needed, and just after this we will have a button as well to submit the form. So just have a button. The label of the button will be merge images, and button type will be of submit to submit the form, and the background color of the button will be BG blue 500. When we hover onto the button, it changes to 700 shade. Text color will be white, font bold, padding by 2px4, and it will also be rounded. If you refresh now, you will see this button as well. So the UI is complete. So now we come to the JavaScript part. So we will write the JavaScript code in a different file. So let me create a file, script.js. So right here we will select the element, the form here, image merger. We have given that ID in the HTML. We will be binding an event listener to it. So when the form submits, this event, this callback function will execute, and first of all, it will prevent the auto submission of the form by invoking e.prevent default. Then we need to get the merge direction which the user has selected. So for that we can use query selector, and we have given the name parameter to it. So now to target this inside JavaScript, we write input square brackets, then the name parameter right here. So we have given this name parameter which is merged direction, and we need to get the value which is checked. So you'll write here colon, checked, and then dash value. So this will actually get the value of the radio button, either horizontal or vertical. This is the actual selector. You can pause the video. Just we have given this name parameter merge direction underscore checked underscore value or dot value. So after getting this, we will get the images which is selected by the user by using, we have given an ID here of image files. To get the files selected, we will use the dot files property. So here we are using vanilla JavaScript. We haven't used jQuery at all. So this is all JavaScript. And here we'll be comparing if this selected image file's length is smaller than 2. So user must at least select 2 files to actually merged. So if they selected only a single file, then we will say to the user that please select at least 2 images. And we will simply return from the program. That's all. We will not execute the rest of the code. So if the images are greater than 2, in that case we will call a function which we will be making this custom function, and we will be passing this array from image files. We will be creating an array from this image files, and we will be passing it as an argument to this custom function. Now we need to define this custom function, load images. It will take this files as an argument. It will return a promise. So right after this, we can handle the promise by dot. Then we will get the images returned, and we can just console log it for now. And now we need to basically return a promise from this function because we are using dot then. So right here we will be making a variable of promises files dot. We will use the map operator in JavaScript, and for each file which is selected by the user, we will actually read that file first of all by using the file reader API. File reader API will read the file, and it contains an event called as onload, and we will instantiate a new image constructor, and we will simply say image.source is equal to event.target.result. So event.target.result typically returns the base 64 code of this image because we are making a new constructor of this image constructor. File reader API uses canvas to data URL function which returns the base 64 code of the image. In this way, we read the images in memory whenever we make applications related to images. This is a very common way of reading images. And then we have this onload function of every image. And here we can resolve the promise by passing this image. If any sort of error take place, then we can reject the promise like this. And just outside this, we need to call this most important function, which is read as data URL, which will return the base 64 code of the image file. So this is really important. And after this, outside this, I think const promises. I think some brackets are creating file, return new promise, resolve, reject. Okay, we forgot to return a promise from this function. Just after this line, we do need to say return because we are returning promises from this. So we simply say return new promise. Either this promise can resolve or it can reject like this. So just wrap this code. Now it is looking good. You can see we are using resolve and reject because we are passing it. It is returning a new promise. Just outside this statement, we will simply say return this promise. We are call the all function and pass this promises that we have. This variable that we are passing it. So now we will get these images. If you check your console, if I select a bunch of images, as you can see, can only select a single file because we haven't given that attribute of multiple. Just attach this attribute of multiple so that we can select multiple images. So if you select all these images and click that button of merge images, you will actually see this images will be returned to us. All these images will be successfully read and it will be returned to us. This is actually the base64 code that I was talking about. So first of all, how this program executes, let me just understand you. First of all, this function takes place, this if condition take place. If the images are greater than 2, then we call this function custom function. Then actually all the files which are selected by the user comes into this function. We actually read one file at a time and we read it using file reader API. Then we read the base64 code by using this function read as data URL, and then we pass this as a promise and we handle this promise by dot then and console log these images which are coming, which are 5 images. For each image we are getting this base64 code. If you closely look in the current source directory, you can see. So now after we successfully read the files, we can now merge it. So for merging it, we will create a variable which is merged image and call a custom function merged images. We will pass these images as argument and merged a second argument that we need to pass here, which will be the merged direction. So we will be passing both of these values as arguments to this function. So now we need to actually make this function just out below that merged image. I call this as merged images. So it takes the files and the merge direction as two arguments. So here you'll be using the canvas API. So first of all, we do need to get the canvas. So we will create a new element by using create element function in JavaScript, canvas dynamically. Then we will be setting the context. In order to get the context, we use the get context function. We need to get the 2D context. Then we need to simply select a if condition. We need to check the merge direction. If the merge direction is equal to horizontal, then in that case we need to merge the images in a horizontal direction. We need to calculate the width for that. We will simply use the reduce function of JavaScript high level function. So here we actually take the two parameters sum and image, and for each, so here we actually for each image we calculate the width. We introduce a new variable right here, sum. If you see, we actually sum plus whatever is the width of the image, and then we pass 0 right here. This is just a mathematical formula which is used to actually merge images in a horizontal direction. You just need to write it, and then we have calculate the height as well, the maximum height. This you can control. We are using the math.max function, and then we use this dot 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 operator to actually merge all these images. So dot 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 is the operator which is used to copy all the elements in an array, and then we use the map operator, and we will be for each image the height will be the same. So we will simply say image dot height, because for merging images in the horizontal direction, height will not change, only the width will change. So that's why we calculated the width, and the height will remain the same. So that's why. After this, we can simply say canvas dot width is equal to total width, and canvas dot height is equal to max height. So after this, we do need to also calculate the offset, x offset, declare it to 0, and for each image we use the for each loop. We will the context, we will draw the image on the canvas, pass it the first parameter, and we will have this offset 0, and then we will increment this value by the width of the image, like this. So by default the offset value is 0, but we are looping through all the images, and we use the draw image function of the canvas API to actually draw this image onto the canvas. Here offset is 0, but now we actually incrementing the offset value by the width of the image. So whatever is the width, we incrementing that offset value. So in this way we merge images in the horizontal direction by use of this offset variable. So after this, we have the else if condition, and this one, if the merge direction is equal to vertical, so all the things will remain the same, but we will change this time to calculate the height. The width will remain the same in case of vertical direction. So for that, we will calculate the height, total height, and we will again use the same formula, image.reduce and sum image. So you can just see we are using the same formula that we did to actually merge images in horizontal direction. This time we are calculating the height, so that's why image.height 0. The width will remain the same, so max width math.max dot 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 images dot map, and for each image the width will remain the same, so image dot width image dot width. So after that we need to set the canvas width and canvas height. Similarly, that will set this uh, earlier. Canvas width is equal to max width, and canvas height is equal to total height. And then again we will be introducing an offset variable. We will set it to 0, and then again we will be looping through all the images which needs to be merged by using the for each loop. For each image we will be drawing this image by using the draw image function, image 0, and just call this as y offset, because this offset variable will be working in the y direction, vertical direction, that's why y offset. and that we call this an x offset because it's there in the x-axis horizontal. So after you do this, just use this variable y offset, and once again you'll be increasing the offset variable, whatever is the height of the image. So plus is equal to image dot height. So same formula you can observe right here. Here we are working with width, and here we are working with height. So depending upon whether you are there in the horizontal direction or vertical direction, this is simple mathematics. So after you do this, you need to download the image as an attachment. So first of all, we do need to return the base64 code of the image. Again, we'll be using the same function, canvas to data URL. So this returns the base64 code of the image and as a PNG image. So you can even do JPG here also, but we will be sticking to the PNG image. So this returns a base64 code, and right here where we are calling this function, we will get this value. And now we need to simply display this image, display the merged output image. For that, we will once again create another function, display merged image, and we will get this code, base64 code, and we will pass it as an argument. And now we need to make this function. Right here, let me define it right here. And for actually displaying this image in the output, we do need to make some changes in the HTML. We do need to have an image tag just below this button, just below the form. So you'll have a div, we'll give it an ID here so that we can target in JavaScript image preview. We'll give it a class of hidden. By default, it will not be shown to the user whenever you load the page for the very first time. I have a h2 heading right here, which will be merged image preview. Text large, font bold. And then after that, we will have an image tag. We'll give it an ID here of preview image, class of preview image. After this, we will have a anchor tag which will be useful to download the image. We give it an ID to this also, download button. Give it a class here, bg blue 500. Text will be white. It will be rounded, margin top 4, and it will be hidden by default. It will not be shown, and we'll also be giving an attribute to it of download because it's a download button. So we've given this attribute of download. The label will simply be saying download merged image. So here this download attribute, you can also provide a default file name. So you can simply say out merged image.png. This will be the default file name given whenever you click the download button. That's all in the HTML. And coming back to the JavaScript, we do need to show the image. For showing it, we need to get references. So preview image, document.getElement by ID, preview image, and the download button. So after getting this, both the references, we do need to manipulate the source parameter. just make it merged image, and then for when the onload function, when the image is loaded successfully, then we need to show the download button. For that, we need to remove the hidden parameter first of all, attribute that we given. You can simply say class list dot remove. Then we also need to download button href merged image, and also download button class list dot remove hidden. So now the download button will be shown to the user. That's all. This completes the application. If I reload the application, choose these three files, select the direction vertical, click on this button. You will see on script line number 57, it is saying that images is not defined. Let me check line number 57. Okay. We call this as files. You can see we are calling it as files. Just rename this to images. So just make this change and then select images, these four images in the horizontal direction, and now you will see that the output is shown to the in the merged image preview section. All these four images have been successfully merged into a single image. If you click the download button, your image will be downloaded, and now you can see the output image. All these four images are merged in a single image, and same goes with the vertical as well. Click on merge and you will see it will be merged in a vertical direction. All the source code is given in the description of this video, and do check out my website as well guys, freemediatools.com. You will find a lot more tools. I also deployed this tool, merge images. You can try this tool online by visiting this website, horizontal, vertical, alongside thousands of more tools are there, free tools you can try. So keep visiting this website for more tools. I will update tools on a regular basis on this website, so free media tools. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I will be seeing you in the next one.